I'm Keith Knipway Jr. I'm a student here at College of Menominee Nation going for Sustainable Development, doing the Learning from the Land internship at SDI.
I'm Brianna Levson and I'm working with the Learning from the Land group, so I'm kind of taking part in the activities that they offered.
An oak wilt plot, well, it's where a oak tree became infected. I'm not exactly sure on the scientific name, but there's beetles and a few other natural diseases that play into it, and it spreads from tree to tree by, like, they call it root grafting, is where the roots kind of grow together. That makes other trees susceptible that way. Or if say, you know, a branch breaks off and then that beetle can get into that oak wilt, that oak tree, and be able to spread it that way as well. And basically all it really is an infected area with all these oak trees that were susceptible to the natural diseases along with the beetle, and the trees just basically die, and it spreads actually fairly rapidly over the part of 6 months or so. It can spread fairly quick if it doesn't get handled. It's been a really fun experience. You know, I'm learning quite a bit about oak wilt disease, the emerald ash borer. We spent a little bit of time with that. We learned about all the garlic mustard on the reservation, how they handle that, which is only either they spray with herbicide or they will hand pull the plants out. So it's been a very fun experience.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard how big MTE was. Like, I mean, it's known for, I guess, a lot of states, and I've heard how there's people who've come up to MTE just to learn how their foresting practices are. And so, I mean, I love it. It's nice. I mean, there's not just, because specifically I work with the forestry department, so it's interesting because it's like their forest health part, which is specifically what the oak wilt part of it is, so that's where I work. And then there's like the environmental part, and there's other parts, so everyone kind of works together in a way. It's nice, actually. So
the big key points is how much effect garlic mustard has on the understory in the forest. It's a type of plant, I don't remember the exact name of it, but it can choke out other plants and it just grows really fast. Okay. It has if it goes to seed and it can germinate and everything like that, it has, if I'm not mistaken, they said a 1 to 7 year span of where that seed could lay dormant before it sprouts again. And then as for like with the oak wilt, I've got to learn on how much of an effect that is actually having on the forest itself, because it's getting it to the point where they have to go through and cut out all of these red oak trees and basically, harvest it before it even needed to be harvested, which is having a giant effect on the forest itself. Within these plots, it could take anywhere from 80 to 100 years for the trees to mature and be, to where they would be able to harvest them and have a decent timber value out of these trees that are growing in them now. So,
well, I learned that a lot of oak wilt in general, I mean, I didn't know that oak wilt was a fungal disease, so when I found that out, I thought it was like, wow, I didn't know that. And then it can attack the tree's roots, and it can be transferred from tree to tree through the roots specifically. And then also there's an oak wilt beetle, and that specific beetle, they still don't know exactly which one, but they have an idea, and it can go into the tree and burrow in it, and then when they feed off of it and they go to another oak tree, it transfers the disease that way. So I learned a lot of oak wilt in general, not just, how to, I guess, inventory everything, but more like the disease itself.
I wasn't really sure what I was going to end up doing this time around. I'm kind of glad I got to work with MTE, because that's actually where I plan on working after I get out of college. Okay. So it's basically like giving me a foot in the door. But as for what I expected, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, where I was going to be, what, I didn't know what to expect in all actuality. I just knew that I told him, just make sure that I'm outside.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I want. You know, let me be outside. Don't stick me in an office all day long. I said, and then I'll do it. And that's what I ended up with. So.
Well, I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, I guess at first I was kind of worried about how strict the internship was going to be, but really it's like they're really easygoing. They still get stuff done, but they're not intimidating here. And also, like, I thought I was going to be working with bugs that cause the disease, so knowing that it's not bugs only, but also the fungal aspect. I mean,
to me, it's basically like us helping ourselves to help others.
Okay.
You know, we're taking that initiative to, you know, help grow stuff or help protect the forest for the future generations. And it, you know, if we can make that a repetitive cycle to where the generation that comes up after us will do the same, you know, it'll actually, we could probably do this for another 200-300 years. You know, have the most sustainable forest in the United States.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just a small reservation. But that's what I think. Every time I hear sustainability, I start thinking it changes every, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, this sounds a little better. You know, I can put it like this, or I can word it like that. It's, but basically, yeah, it's just us helping ourselves to help others. You know.
Okay.
To me, sustainability means basically being able to use resources without diminishing them for future uses. You don't want to, I guess, use too much of it now and it may seem good, but you want to make sure there's at least some for, you know, your grandchildren and their grandchildren as well.